Today's video is sponsored by Hit Point Press. Don't miss out on the sale. Alright guys, Jameson and Alex here. Today we're talking about the Path of the Glacier Barbarian. This is from Griffon's Saddlebag, Book 1. If you're new to the channel or the series, what we're going to do is go through all the abilities gained in the subclass. We're going to rate it based on its roleplay, combat, and synergy, based on how the abilities gained in the subclass improve on the base class abilities. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to be entered in our D&D Beyond bundle giveaway.
Free stuff is incredible.
All that being said, let's get right into it.
All right, it's a barbarian. We like cold things. That's what we do. Sounds like me. Anyway, Permafrost is our first ability. You gain resistance to cold damage, and while you're not wearing any armor, you gain a +1 bonus to your AC, so that armor defense gets real thick in a hurry. In addition, your rage is a cold and patient well of power. When your rage would end early due to you either not attacking or taking damage, you can choose to maintain it instead. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Constitution modifier. Regain all uses when you finish a long rest.
Yeah, so it's just a way to get, basically persistent rage much earlier.
Yeah, which I think is, which will feel really good early on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Really good.
Also at level 3, we have Frostbite. Once on each of your turns while you're raging, you can release a burst of sheer cold when you hit a target with a melee weapon attack. When you do, that target takes an extra 1d6 cold damage from the attack. The damage increases when you reach certain levels in the class, increasing to 2d6 at 10th level and 3d6 at 14th level. When a creature takes cold damage in this way, its speed is reduced by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. I'll take it.
Level 6 is Cold Fortress. When you enter a rage and are not wearing any armor, your skin becomes shielded by a protective layer of frost. This frost grants you a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d12 plus your Constitution modifier that lasts for 1 hour. You can use a bonus action on your following turns while you're raging to expend a hit die to gain these temporary hit points again. When you do, the number of temporary hit points you gain is equal to the maximum rolled on the expended hit die plus your Constitution modifier.
Yeah, so you're going to be incredibly tanky.
Thick.
Give that Totem Barbarian a run for his money.
Just so thick.
At level 10, we have Deep Sleep. You can choose to enter a deep state of hibernation when you take a long rest. While resting in this way, you're cold to the touch and appear dead to all outward inspection and to spells used to determine your status. Noise and other distractions fail to wake you. You awake from this rest after 6 hours when you take damage or when a creature uses its action to slap you awake. If you finish a continuous 6 hours of sleep in this way, you regain the benefits of finishing a long rest and regain all expended hit die. So instead of half, you get all of them, which is going to go along with your Cold Fortress ability up above.
You got it. That's called synergy.
Oh no!
Finally, at 14, we have Avalanche Stomp. As an action, you can stomp the ground to send out a magical tremor. All creatures of your choice within 15 feet of you must make a dexterity saving throw with a DC of 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength modifier.
We have that.
We do. On a failed save, a creature takes bludgeoning damage equal to 3d6 plus your strength modifier and is knocked prone. This action counts as an attack for the purpose of maintaining your rage.
All right, so nice.
Do you notice there's
small AoE
no limited to use on that?
Right, just takes your whole action, which, with extra attack, you're not getting your extra attacks, but you're foregoing that to
knock something prone.
Potentially, yeah, for sure. And, if you don't really have AoE options as a barbarian either, so this gives you a little bit of small AoE range, which is a nice welcome addition.
Yes.
So those are all the abilities gained in the subclass, so we're just going to jump right on into the rating portion of the video. First up is the roleplay asterisk, as always. Talking about roleplay, we're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, non-combat scenarios, avoiding combat, basically things outside of the initiative order. Yeah. Not talking about your class fantasy, history, lore, background, that's on you as a player. Can't rate you, but we can rate the abilities gained in the subclass, how they might improve your potential in those roleplay scenarios. So, all that being said, looking at the barbarian on here, as with most barbarians...
Uses a barbarian.
As with the case with most barbarians...
What is play of role?
There is not a whole lot mechanically with this in the roleplay department. I mean, there's maybe some really super niche stuff with the Cold Fortress. I mean, being able to trick people into thinking you're dead. There's that kind of feeling. It's super niche on that side, though. I mean, the temporary hit points can maybe be argued for indirect synergy because, for traps or something, you're like, that thing over there looks a little sketchy. Let me give myself some temp HP real quick before I go trigger that thing, just in case, And especially when you're getting Cold Fortress, getting your hit dice back, all of them, you can be a little bit more lenient with spending those hit dice. So all that being said, we just went with a 1.5 out of 5 for the roleplay. Just mostly flavor and RP for this one, and some nicheness.
Now, normally, if things don't happen much on one side of the aisle, they tend to be focusing on the other side, and that is obviously the case here. Starting off with the ability to maintain your rages early. Love that. Because nothing feels worse as a barbarian than your rage ending because, A, nothing's in range for you to hit, and you try to throw something, and it's outside of your the normal range of a javelin, so you're having to roll with disadvantage, and you miss. Yeah. So you're like, well, there goes my rage because I can't reach anything.
Yeah.
Feels
especially
bad.
early levels when you don't have very many uses.
Yeah, you get 2 rages a day. You're like, I'd be great to be able to keep that rage going at least for the rest of this combat.
Right.
That feels great. Also, resistance to cold damage. Good, obviously, because it's a very common damage type. Probably 3rd behind fire and poison.
Yeah.
It's probably of
the
elemental ones, obviously.
Sounds
it's probably
right.
next up. In general, obviously. And of course, the +1 bonus to your AC, making your unarmored defense that much better early. Because starting off the unarmored defense before your stats get up can either be the same as like a medium armor or even less than until you get your stats up. And the stats start growing, you start like, what is armor? my sheer force of scary is my defense. Frostbite gives you a chance to get some extra cold damage in. It's once per turn. Wonderful. And on top of that is you get to cut something speed down, so it knows it's not getting away from you because you have unarmored movement on top of this. So you're just running stuff down. Wonderful. Is it anything exciting? Yes, because you get to keep running it down and keep cutting it into pieces. So,
we'll take it.
You'll take it. Cold Fortress, level 6, gives you temp HP options. And I know, like, Jameson's internal excitement level went to a 12 out of a 10 when it says you can spend hit dice to keep it around because Jameson really likes playing with additional features and options in interesting ways, and I totally get that. And it works very well with your deep sleep feature, as James mentioned earlier, because you feel more prone to use that feature because you know you're going to get all of your hit dice back on a short rest. So if you spend half your hit die rolling to recover health and the other half giving yourself temp HP, you're like, I don't get them all back at the end of the day anyway, so why do I care?
Yep.
You can feel ready to go to spend those. Everybody else is like, don't want to spend more hit die to get myself more health. You're like, what are hit die? Get mine all back anyway. And then probably the most, I guess, lackluster is the final ability. It's not bad by any means, but it does take your whole action. I think I might prefer it to be a little bit more potent and maybe only take one of your attacks, but be limited uses kind of thing.
Yeah, would be interesting.
Because that way you can knock something prone and then have advantage to get your brutal criticals by smashing into stuff.
Yep.
So I think I would prefer that. But again, it does, like James said, give you an AoE option. It's a very small AoE option, but it is there. But aside everything else, helps you out a ton more doing what a barbarian does.
Yeah.
Extra damage with cold, ton more defenses, reducing movement speed away so it can't get away from you, and you're just going to slowly beat stuff down because it's not going to be able to kill you. It's just not.
I mean, you're a barbarian.
Anything that's not a caster is not going to be able to cause you any pain at all because of your temp HP and what you are to get from base barbarian. So, on the score side of things, we went with a 4 out of a possible 5 for the combat. And really, personally, if the capstone's probably what's preventing it from being higher up there.
Yeah. I think with the synergy, just switching over gears just a little bit, there's a lot of synergy around the rage, which is a huge core component of being a barbarian. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously with Cold Fortress, with the temp HP, you have to be raging. Also, with the Frostbite, you get the extra damage while raging. And then Permafrost helps you maintain your rage. So there's just a lot focusing on the rage. So that is good because it helps you, keep it up more than you normally would have at earlier levels. But if you're out of rages, you're toned down a little bit. And I think that's more what hampers the combat than than
Permafrost
most
also
things.
helps your armor defense too.
Yes,
Because you're going up an additional
it does.
+1 on the
It
AC.
does, for sure, which is a nice bonus on there. And of course, getting hit dice, being able to spend those is fantastic because you never get to use them that often outside of short rests.
Yep.
And being able to get all of them back just gives you more incentive to
you
use
can
them.
just throw, because if you're spending them to give yourself temp HP to prevent taking actual damage, you're not going to have to spend them to give yourself healing to heal back the damage you've lost.
Right.
And the other thing is, it specifies when you do the temporary hit points that you get the maximum roll.
That's right.
So it's actually...
It's more efficient.
It's more efficient to do it that way and spend like 3/4 of your hit die or more
in combat,
giving yourself temp HP than trying to heal it after the fact.
Right. Definitely. And this, going along with that, it is going to make you incredibly tanky. Like I said, it's going to be up there it's going to be up there with Totem Barbarian, where you're just getting resistance to everything, essentially.
Yeah.
Because if you could you're going to have, growing hit dice pool as you level up, obviously, which is a nice synergy thing in and of itself.
Yep.
But being able to give yourself, 17 eventually, if you're going
relatively quickly.
before level 20 when it's 24 con.
Yeah. Good lord.
You're getting a lot of temp HP you can pull every single turn.
Yeah.
20 times eventually. You have a ton of health. And you already are going to have, 200 to 250 health on average as a barbarian.
Yeah.
Without any feats or anything else crazy on there, you're already going to be a monster.
Just get it to like 387 hit points. Just be so big.
Yeah, you will have so much effective health that it's going to make you super tanky. The only thing is it necessary? Maybe not, but is it fun? Absolutely. Just to be a huge icy tank.
Like you need some way with this, like compelled duel or some other kind of taunt like effect that just says, you hate how I look. Just come hit me. Just come hit me.
Hey. But, all this, there's lots of internal synergy and scaling, which is great. You get your extra damage from the cold damage as you level up with Frostbite. Again, with your hit dice, scaling just naturally, and, uses for that, for spenders and regaining it. Some great synergy there. And, just getting, as Alex said, the AoE option, it's not super exciting. It does knock stuff prone. It does take your whole action, though, so you're not going to probably reap the benefits of it most times.
Yep.
But if you have allies around that are melee, fighters, rogues, they're going to take huge advantage of those things getting knocked down and just annihilate them. So that is really helpful to have that from a party, synergy perspective. But just having AoE in general is nice to have that. If you're ever surrounded by a bunch of little things that are annoying, you just slam them all, knock them all down, and it's going to make their day rough if you have, some other martial fighters in your party. So all that being said, lots of synergy. Went with a 4.5 out of 5.
Yep.
Lots of things that just build on making you a better barbarian. Even looking at, with the Frostbite getting extra cold damage, it even ties in, kind of with reckless attack. Because if you're making sure you're getting those hits in, you're making sure you get that extra damage and slow in. So there is a lot of internal synergy going on. And external with the class as a whole and party composition, depending on what that might be.
Yes. Any chance, again, more damage, slows, more tankiness, barbarian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't outthink
barbarian.
Don't outthink through. It's barbarian.
We'll take it. That's going to be it for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you know when all of our new videos are coming out. Make sure to check out our sponsors in the link down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Black Friday has come early to Hit Point Press. Enjoy site-wide discounts and tons of new products ready to go for the holiday season. Humblewood, animated spells, Griffon Saddlebag, the deck of many, miniature STLs, and more. Don't miss out. While you're checking everything out, make sure to pick up Fablemaker, the new Series 2 animated spells, and try out a free download of the Shift Quick Start Beta, a brand new RPG system in development. Use the code BF2022 at checkout to get an additional 5% off orders over $50. Shop the sale at hitpointpress.com.